Okay, let's unpack this. Think about this number. By 2050, nearly 1 in 4 people globally will be over 60.
Wow.
That's a massive shift, right? And it makes you think, well, what can we actually do to not just live longer, but really thrive in those years?
Absolutely. And what's really compelling, I think, is the increasing scientific focus on not just lifespan, but um, health span, the period of life lived in good
Great
health.
plan, yeah, that's the key.
So for this deep dive, we've gathered recent research notes looking at the most promising ways to promote healthy aging and maybe even tackle some of that damage from time.
Exactly. Because there's just so much information out there, it can feel, well, overwhelming.
It really can.
So our goal here is to try and cut through the noise a bit, give you a clear understanding of what the cutting-edge science is saying about anti-aging without, burying you in jargon.
So I guess the key question becomes, with all these substances being looked at, which ones are showing like the most potential to really impact how we age?
That's precisely what we're diving into today. We've analyzed the research to bring you what seem to be the top 5 most promising substances right now for anti-aging effects. Let's jump in. First up, a familiar one, resveratrol.
Ah, yes, resveratrol. A lot of people have probably heard of it, often linked to, red wines.
Right, grapes and berries. It's been in the headlines.
Yeah, found in grapes, berries.
But here's a fascinating point I found. To get really significant health benefits just from diet, you'd need to drink, well, an unrealistic amount of red wine.
Right, like what are we talking?
Around 10 glasses daily, apparently. And just to be super clear, that's definitely not advice we're giving.
No, definitely not.
This is where supplementation really comes into the picture. So the core insight, it seems, isn't about drinking more wine, but maybe strategically targeting these damaging zombie cells with a concentrated supplement.
Right. And what makes resveratrol interesting is how it works, the cellular level. It seems particularly good at preventing the formation of senescent cells.
The zombie cell.
Yeah, often called zombie cells. Think of them as like old damaged cells that just refuse to die off.
Okay.
Instead, they just sort of hang around, causing inflammation, disrupting the healthy cells nearby.
So they're like cellular clutter, basically just gumming up the works.
Exactly.
And it's not just that they stick around, right? I understand resveratrol also helps protect our healthy cells and
Yep.
maybe even our brain function as we age.
Precisely. It helps prevent the death of healthy cells. It reduces oxidative stress, which is a huge factor in aging. And yeah, it can help preserve cognitive function by protecting neurons from age-related decline.
Mm.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is that resveratrol seems to mimic some benefits of caloric restriction.
Oh, interesting. Like the idea of eating less to live longer.
Exactly that. So it's potentially like a shortcut, maybe to some of those longevity effects without needing, drastic diet changes or the potential nutritional downsides.
That's a really neat connection. So while it might be maybe a gentler option compared to some others we'll discuss,
Possibly, yeah.
it offers a safe, potentially beneficial approach for long-term use. What's the typical dose people talk about?
Generally around 1,000 milligrams daily is often cited in studies looking at these effects. It seems quite safe for long-term use.
Okay, 1,000 milligrams. Got it. All right, let's move on then. Something our listeners have been really curious about, based on comments, rapamycin.
Yes, rapamycin. It certainly generated a lot of buzz, and for good reason. Its anti-aging effects seem to center on inhibiting this key pathway in our cells called mTOR.
M2R.
Think of mTOR like a cellular switch. It controls growth, reproduction, that sort of thing.
Okay.
When rapamycin inhibits mTOR, it shifts the cell into more of a survival and repair mode. It activates a crucial process called autophagy.
Autophagy, that's the cellular self-cleaning thing, right? Like a spring cleaning for our cells.
Exactly that. Yeah, autophagy is how cells get rid of damaged parts, recycle materials, essentially tidy themselves up.
Makes sense.
And what's truly remarkable, really, is that animal studies, particularly in mice, show rapamycin can extend lifespan even when treatment starts later in life.
Wow, even starting later could have an impact. That's pretty hopeful.
The potential implications for human aging are, well, significant. And furthermore, in older mice treated with it, researchers saw a big reduction, something like 80% in those harmful senescent cells we just talked about.
80%.
Yeah, leading to tissue rejuvenation, improved organ function in those mice. However, and this is a really critical point,
Okay, what's the catch?
rapamycin is currently used in transplant patients. Why? Because it's an immunosuppressant.
Ah, So it weakens the immune system.
It does, makes the body more vulnerable to infections, other threats.
That sounds like a major trade-off. So even though it seems powerful in the lab for anti-aging,
Right.
that effect on the immune system makes it, well, unsuitable for healthy people just looking for longevity right now.
Precisely. It's essential for preventing organ rejection, but we haven't yet figured out how to get the anti-aging benefits without the immunosuppression.
Hmm.
Plus, we just lack the long-term human studies to confirm safety and effectiveness specifically for anti-aging. Research is definitely ongoing, though, trying to understand it better.
Okay, so powerful, but maybe not ready for prime time for longevity yet.
Not for general use, no.
No.
Now, let's turn to something that some scientists think could be even more promising than rapamycin for slowing down cellular aging. Alpha-ketoglutarate, AKG.
AKG. Okay, this one's newer to me. What makes it stand out?
Well, several things make AKG particularly exciting. First, there are large human studies happening right now actually measuring biological age in people taking it.
Oh, wow. Direct evidence.
Very direct evidence, hopefully. Second, it seems to have a really good safety profile, especially compared to rapamycin.
That's a big plus.
And third, the early findings. Well, they suggest its effects on biological age might be more substantial than what we see with resveratrol. The insight here might be that AKG is hitting some fundamental aging processes, maybe deeper than just energy.
Wait, did you say, I read something about initial studies showing a reduction in biological age, like quite a big one?
Yes, that's the really striking initial finding from some human studies. 7 months of supplementation led to an average reduction equivalent to about 8 years in biological age.
8 years? In 7 months? That's incredible.
It is a very eye-catching result. Now, AKG isn't totally new. Athletes have used it for years to boost performance.
Ah, okay. Why?
Because it's a key player in the Krebs cycle. That's like the central engine for energy production in our cells.
Right, the Krebs cycle, core metabolism.
Exactly. Think of AKG as a crucial fuel component,
Yeah.
keeping that engine running smoothly. It's also vital for breaking down proteins and carbs, giving us metabolic flexibility.
Metabolic flexibility, the
Yeah.
ability to switch fuels easily.
Precisely. Using energy efficiently from different sources.
So its benefits go beyond just energy then.
Oh, absolutely. AKG is involved in a surprising number of things.
Mhm.
It helps reduce oxidative damage, helps transport nitrogen. It's involved in forming new amino acids.
Wow.
It even plays a role in making T lymphocytes, which are key for our immune system and controlling inflammation. I mean, it's involved in nearly 1,000 different cellular reactions.
1,000. Okay, it's clearly important.
Yeah. And if you remember our chat about NAD+, well, NKG levels also decline as we age.
Ah, another one that drops off. Leading to faster aging, less energy.
That seems to be the connection, yeah. Reduced energy, potentially accelerated aging.
So how does AKG differ from NAD plus in its effects then? Is it mainly lifespan or?
Well, interestingly, AKG might not give those huge lifespan extensions we see in some animal studies with other things in mice. It was around a 10% increase in adult lifespan.
Okay, 10%, not massive, but still something.
But here's the significant part. There was roughly a 50% reduction in morbidity.
Morbidity, so less time spent being sick during your life.
Exactly. A significant decrease in the burden of illness.
That's huge.
It suggests that even if the total lifespan increase isn't dramatic, you might spend significantly more years in good health, free from chronic disease.
You know, for many people, that improved quality of life, that health span we talked about,
Right.
that could be even more important than just adding extra years at the end in poor health.
I think many would agree with that. It's a really important distinction.
Okay, great point. Let's move on to another big one, heavily researched, NAD plus and its precursors.
Right. NAD plus G, or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. It's a molecule in literally every cell in our bodies, and it's absolutely essential for energy production.
Simple connection then. More NAD plus equals more energy, better cell function.
Basically, yes. Higher NAD plus levels generally mean more cellular energy and better overall function.
So how does our body actually get this NAD plus? Well, is it just from food?
Well, our bodies are pretty clever. We can recycle existing NAD plus we can make it from an amino acid called tryptophan.
Tryptophan, like in turkey.
That's the one. Or we can convert certain forms of vitamin B3 and these precursor molecules like NMN or NR into NAD plus 1.
NMN and NR, nicotinamide mononucleotide and nicotinamide riboside. Those are the supplements people talk about, right?
Those are the main precursors people supplement with, yes.
But the challenge, like with AKG, is that our natural ability to make NAD plus goes down as we get older.
Precisely. That age-related decline makes us more susceptible to diseases, And it seems to speed up cellular aging because cells just have less energy for vital repair and maintenance.
Okay, makes sense. Less energy for upkeep.
And what's particularly intriguing about NAD plus is the multiple ways it seems to support longevity. For one, it boosts the activity of sirtuins.
Sirtuins, those are something that's called longevity genes, right? Or like cellular guardians.
That's a good way to put it. They play roles in DNA repair, metabolism. You might remember them from the Cert Food diet buzz a while back.
Ah, right. Vaguely.
NAD plus also improves the function of our stem cells.
Stem cells too. Wow. They're crucial for regeneration, repair.
Absolutely. Studies, mainly in animals so far, but some human ones emerging, show that supplementing with NR can actually rejuvenate stem cells in different tissues and reduce DNA damage from aging and oxidative stress.
So boosting NAD plus seems to hit a lot of important anti-aging pathways.
It really does appear to have broad effects. And again, ongoing human studies should give us much more detail on the long-term impact of taking these precursors.
Definitely one to watch. Okay, finally, let's talk about spermidine.
Spermidine, yes.
I've definitely heard that name floating around health circles. What's its main role in this anti-aging picture?
Spermidine is what's called a polyamine. Its remarkable trick is activating autophagy in our cells.
Autophagy again, like intermittent fasting.
In a very similar way, yes. It triggers that cellular cleanup process. Now, there are studies in animals and humans,
Okay.
but it's important to note the human evidence right now relies more on observational data, things like questionnaires about diet.
Right. Correlational, not necessarily causal yet. So what have those studies suggested?
They found links between higher dietary spermidine intake, often from foods that support a healthy gut microbiome, interestingly,
Ah, the gut connection again.
and positive things like lower blood pressure, fewer cardiovascular problems, and even lower overall mortality rates.
So the theory is that spermidine improves cell health somehow.
That's the current thinking, possibly by stimulating new neuron growth in the brain, enhancing cardiovascular function. The mechanisms are still being fully worked out.
Interesting how it connects brain and heart health potentially.
It is. Now, our bodies do make some spermidine naturally,
But probably not enough.
maybe not enough to fully counteract all the daily cellular wear and tear, but crucially, our gut bacteria can also make spermidine.
Okay. So gut health is key here too.
It really seems to be. It underscores how important maintaining a healthy gut microbiome could be for supporting our body's own anti-aging processes.
So maybe focusing on gut health, good diet, fiber, fermented foods could be a really practical strategy for a lot of people, maybe more so than just taking a supplement.
For most people, I'd say yes. Prioritizing gut health likely offers much broader benefits beyond just spermidine. But spermidine supplements might be an option for people who, say, can't do intermittent fasting, but want similar autophagy benefits.
Okay, that makes sense as a potential use case. Right, so we've covered these 5 fascinating substances: resveratrol, rapamycin, AKG, NAD plus precursors, spermidine, each working in slightly different ways. If we step back for a moment, are there common threads, like overarching principles in how these things seem to work?
Absolutely, yes. While they each have unique mechanisms, we're definitely seeing some recurring themes, some common pathways they influence. Well, for example, several seem to boost the production or function of stem cells vital for repair and regeneration.
Okay, stem cells.
Many also enhance mitochondrial energy production, basically giving cells more fuel for repairs and everything else they need to do.
More energy. Makes sense.
Reducing cellular senescence,
Yeah.
getting rid of those problematic zombie cells. That's another key target we saw.
Right, clearing out the clutter.
And finally, many help lower overall cellular damage and promote repair, whether through autophagy, reducing oxidative stress, or recycling old cell parts.
Okay. Stem cells, energy, clearing senescence, and boosting repair. Seems like a good anti-aging checklist.
It covers a lot of the key bases researchers are looking at.
So what do we do with all this information? It's fascinating science, but how can, you listening actually use this knowledge to live better, healthier lives?
That's the crucial takeaway, isn't it? To maximize both lifespan and, importantly, that health span.
Lower glycemic index, less sugar spikes. Got it.
Thirdly, prioritize a nutrient-dense diet. Avoid deficiencies. And actively work to reduce chronic inflammation in your body through diet, exercise, stress management.
So lifestyle is really the foundation here. Sleep, stress, diet, movement.
Absolutely foundational. And then what about the supplements we've discussed?
Yeah. Where do they fit in?
Well, potentially integrating those healthy lifestyle habits with strategic supplementation. Maybe NAD plus precursors, resveratrol, possibly spermidine if appropriate, might offer an additional layer of support, enhancing quality of life as you age.
So lifestyle first, then perhaps targeted supplements as an enhancement.
That seems like a sensible approach based on current evidence.
This has been incredibly insightful. It's really encouraging, actually, to see how much progress is being made in understanding aging and what we might be able to do about it.
It truly is. And, it leaves us with a compelling question for you, the listener, to maybe ponder. Considering how intricately connected all these anti-aging pathways seem to be, what other synergistic combinations, maybe of lifestyle changes or dietary approaches we haven't even touched on, might unlock even greater potential for healthy longevity?
Hmm. Synergistic combinations. That's a great thought to end on. What else could work together?
Exactly. The journey of discovery definitely continues.